All right, peace and love, world. Welcome to another episode of Conversation with Zoe. Today is a very special day for Conversation with Zoe. This is an honor, to be here, share this space with this incredible man, who has started on one side of the track and ended up, you could say, on the right track with what he's doing now. We have the founder and CEO of Grow Up, Grow Out. We have a credible messenger, an activist, doing good for those still behind bars. Antonio Fernandez, King Tone, former leader of the Latin Kings.
Hey, man.
Good to meet you, my
What's
brother.
up, brother?
Absolutely. How you feel?
What's up, everybody? You already know.
Saying so. Welcome to Conversation with Zoe.
Yeah. It's good to be here. It's a pleasure to be in New York. Nice little studio, and
Yes, we're at WTF Media Studios right here in Soho.
it's looking good. It's got a good vibe, so you already know, man.
We got to do it right,
Yeah.
Production, everything has to match. The
I'm
quality.
learning. I learn. I come and I learn, and I steal.
No, yeah. Listen, we're here to help and grow with each other, and I'm super excited to have you here. Thank you for allowing me to reach out to you, and this is episode 119 today.
Wow.
119. So we've been going for a little while.
Yeah, you got some. Yeah, you've been putting out the product.
Yeah, and that's my point. I want to intentionally impact the youth. By way of the sidewalks and love and pouring into them. And I know how I survived the South Bronx. That was through mentors and coaches. And I grew up in a 2-parent home, but first generation American, they was busy getting to it. You know what I'm saying? So I had to find my way. And that's how they will grow up. You find your way. And somehow, some way I did, so how you been?
I'm good. Like you say, I'm enjoying New York. I come to New York, I visit like twice a month, see my mother and father. A lot of you remember them from HBO, those who been following King Tone for a while in HBO. My father likes to sing, and so they older, so I come down here from Maryland to see them.
Yeah.
And also, to launch this Grow Up, Grow Out incentive in Knickerbocker, Corona, and in the Bronx, Corona, Queens, we're going to have some credible messengers to grow up, grow out flavor, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And bringing more hope, bringing more healing, and bringing more understanding of the justice system is not legitimized until it's ran by the community.
Yes.
The healers are not in the justice building.
No.
It's not the city worker that got 30 years, career, job placement, job security.
Pushing paper.
Maybe he came in on fire, a Black and Latino. They said, we're going to do it. We just came out of John Jay College. We pay $60, and we know what we're doing. They come in with the fire. We're going to help our Latinos. In 10 years, they burn you the fuck out.
Yeah.
You look at the person that look like you, talk like you, broke like they're the problem, just like my kids look at each other like, you look like me, you broke like me, but why the fuck you looking at me? Yeah. You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
And it's what I'm trying to say. Both sides of the spectrum are sad because the ones running Rikers Island, running the justice system, usually are Black and brown people.
Yes.
The superiors are where you're reaching the different status quo of who looks and who's in charge.
Yeah.
So I want to bring that from the rip in the show. So how I'm doing, I'm mad the fuck is pissed that New York got a Black mayor. And every time it seems our people put someone that looks like us, talks like us, if you agree with them or not, somehow things get always more severe. The cops and the unions look worse. Yep. And the city goes where even though we agree with him politically, because of the color of his skin, they want to set up like they did Dinkins, like they did Badillo. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of Latino people that try to run this city that was Latin, but the unions to these big government agencies have power to make them bend.
Yes.
And when you're not a Black African or Latino, you don't have to bend when you got blue and blonde eyes like the one that's testing you.
Yes.
You got a little more courage to fight it.
Yeah.
But at us, we want to have another time to play the game. Yeah. Excuse me. But with that, that's how I see things, that I come here for that, to see if we could shake that tree.
Yeah.
And with the forces that we have in New York and great men like yourself.
Thank you.
How could we make the young adults get the message that there's a better place and a better way to hustle?
Yeah. So I want to start here. The first mistake is what they remember you by. What comes to mind when I say that?
In third grade, when my teacher called me a dummy and a spick, and he thought I cheated, but I just couldn't spell because I'm bilingual. And I decided to become a drug dealer. Not only a drug dealer, an enforcer of justice, right?
Yeah.
So the second thing was the disrespect to my sisters because I was the only boy. So it brings that in the school I didn't only then say I'm gonna be one of the guys in the street, that I also a kid when they were disrespectful, I would enforce a heavy justice. So I remember in third grade already hurting someone that was a friend and everything to my family and taking out his eye, right?
Mm.
In the third grade, take out a kid's eye in front of all your, something's wrong.
Something's wrong.
Something's wrong with Tone, right?
Yeah.
At that time, little Antonio, but busy parents. My parents been married to this day, over 60 years.
Yeah.
Never broken home, a busy home, a poor home, but never a misjudged home, a no moral home, always hope home.
Yeah.
Right? But still I chose the street.
Still
So that means the American dream make you make choices even though you got values.
I think that's the important word, a choice. You made a choice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I feel like I'm a credible messenger myself by way of the sidewalk, you know, and then some people feel like you have to be credible by having gone to jail or Rikers and things like that. But I see that for what it is, you know, and I'm credible in the sense that I want to show you that education is powerful. I want to show you that you can choose a profession, you know, you can choose sports or whatever positive outlet that makes you feel good about yourself. You can go that route, you know, so that's what I feel makes me credible in the work that I do. And my angle was baseball, and now it's through the podcast, and now it's through Slice of Excellence.
So and that's why I want to do that, right? So in America, an education in America has a way of making you duplicate or memorize and then copy someone from the 1800s.
Yeah.
And then you get a doctorate of you quoting some motherfucker that I've never would have even talked to because they were savages.
Yeah.
The way they came to their conclusions because they did study on human beings.
Yeah.
So not blue-eyed, blonde hair human beings. So let's get what I'm really getting go. So this is the thing you come to me to save me with. Because now as a black and brown person, you say, I went in the box, I learned the box, I copied the box. Now I'm going to save you what they taught me in the box.
Yeah.
Right? And I say, what a waste of a great mind. Education is important, like you said. It brings it. But know who you are in that history of that education you're being taught. And know when to become a credible messenger as a teacher. Say, hey, I'm not only going to teach this shit in this book, I'm going to teach the reality of what really happened to the brown and black person and give these kids their own heroes like Lolita LeBron and Malcolm X. And we're going to teach the whole colorful history.
Yes.
So education becomes real, right?
Yeah.
You get my point?
I get
So the point is, education is a great tool if it's taught to teach.
Yeah.
Not taught to repeat and ignore the historical value and history of what is good education and what is bad.
Yes. How was life growing up in East New York?
It was hard as hell.
Yeah.
So I always share a quick story. I got 4 sisters, a mother and father, beautiful. We lived in East New York since I was 3 or 4. So I'm a born East New Yorker. Yeah. Brooklyn all my life. I never lived in another borough. I don't know what that flavor is, but I'm just saying, I don't talk, that's right, because when you from the 80s and 70s, you know that's how we talk. We talk borough. Yeah. We didn't talk all this clique shit, you know, and I'm in the nation and all that, but I'm saying that before it was your borough, your people, right? And that was our gig. So anyway, I'm East New York born by my parents, second generation, but I really never, in East New York, I knew I was black and white, but I really didn't know what the fuck a Puerto Rican was. Yeah. I held a flag, I waved it. I didn't even know where the island was at.
Yeah.
You get my point?
Yeah.
I was told I was Puerto Rican like I was told I was Catholic.
Yeah.
So I was never told how I became to believe and them to believe and how why we were in this country when Puerto Rico was so valuable. Get it? So it was hard, one, being a Latino and trying to figure it out when the problem was always looked at in a black and white point of view.
Yeah.
So who's the brown, right? So in that aspect, I started fighting as a brown and a Puerto Rican more than waving the flag. Why do I feel like I don't know who I am? You know? Yeah. And I think that's the greatest crime against a young adult is to ask them to make good choices in everything when the parents or history, we didn't teach them who he really is, where he really came from.
Yeah.
That we inherited more the rubble, right? But our ancestors took that rubble and made it into mortar, made mortar into brick, and they made houses.
Yeah.
You get what? They took the whip and they made rope.
Yeah.
You get my point?
Yes.
And there's no excuse for us to say because our ancestors were in such a predicament that today gives us the excuse to look at rubble and say we don't know how to make it into mortar and to make it into brick.
Yeah.
You get my point?
Okay.
So our history of torture isn't an excuse to be hopeless.
Yes.
Is an excuse to get you mad as fuck, find out why it's like that, teach your kids why are we such in a disadvantage, and it's their obligation to stand up. See? Now they know why they got to go to college, why they got to go in that box and break it. Yeah. They know they're in already a war. They don't got to get in a Crip, Blood, Latin King, Disciple War. We already got one.
We already got one.
The system.
The system.
My parents taught me the system tortures me by the borough and the zip code I live in. Then they get into color.
Yeah.
But first they place me, right? In the wards.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy house wards. Look, they call us wards. They call them their communities. So if you go to Houston, everything, or even into Louisiana, if you travel, you notice the poor people places are called wards. In New York, if you say you're in a ward, where are you? You're in the crazy house.
Yeah. Psych ward.
But when you go, they go Lakeview Valley. And when you go, there's no lakes, but they're in Lakeview Valley.
Yeah.
You get my point? The perception of the ghetto's in your mind, folks.
Yeah.
The project could look as shiny as fuck if we understood, if we rent there, we live there. And if we live there, that is ours.
Straight like that. The Kings turned a crackhead into a man. You said that in the Queen's Flip interview. Mm-hmm. I never met Queen's Flip, but shout out to Queen's Flip.
Yes. Queen Flip, yeah, we did good too. Yeah. His mans loved me. We were in the hospital and they go cool. Flip did his little act, but great too, man. You know, they were very kind, and shout out to y'all, man. You always do your thing.
Yeah. So what does that mean? The Kings turned a crackhead into a man.
Because in that no identity, you look for one. So I thought first a drug dealer was my history, right? I tried to be a drug dealer because I didn't know what was a Puerto Rican. I knew what was a drug dealer. I knew what he gave on the block. I knew how he brought hope. I knew that there was an immediate satisfaction to our needs in our community through the drug dealer. That trade changed.
Yeah.
But don't be fooled. Let me tell you something, folks. The misfit economy and gangs were here before Black and Puerto Ricans were on this land in this country. They used to wear top hats and bow ties, just to make it clear. Now they look like us, so it's more of a problem than people fighting for their piece of the pie.
Yeah.
So in saying that, when I was lost, what else do you depend on? Money or the American traits? What you got? Mm-hmm. How you distribute that pain, so when you walk on the block, they say your name, right? That shit, that glory.
Yeah.
So in that, I became an addict because one thing happens, and I'm going to tell you young folks, no matter how tough you get and how hard you look, fear made you change your parents' name and your historical name to a street name. 90% of you motherfuckers didn't go on the street, and I'm going to become King Tone off the rip. I was scared, and I said, Pachi doesn't cut it in the street. What's the name I'm going to create? So I could let these know, right? You change.
Yeah, you change.
And that's what happened. I changed the community. My doubt, my miseducation of self led me to believe that drugs, money, and women would give me what I needed. Mm-hmm. And the values of home disappeared for the values on TV. Like YouTube and all the shit you watching. For us, it was the commercials, the BMX bikes. If you were poor, you were not good, because Santa Claus gave to the good kids. And if you poor, ain't no fucking Santa Claus coming down your chimney. So automatically, we all went to school the next day with the white kids smiling because they got gift, and we all must have been on the bad list because our parents were poor.
Poor, yeah.
You don't get my point? So in that, I'm saying, I went into drugs. I smoked crack for 3 years. I hit the bottom, right?
How old were you when you started doing
When
crack?
I was doing that, I was in my 20s. Mm-hmm. So in the crack years was really hard because I just opened so much drug spots, and I helped my friends' mothers get high. So you get it?
Was it like from one day to the next the crack era happened, or did it like gradually?
Well, if you study history, nothing happens, right? So, like they say, the Spaniards came and they conquered American Indian, like they came and they just beat them. What they did, they put two savage pigs from their countries 10 years earlier. The pig was infested in what became the American wild boar. The wild boar was their chemical warfare of the 1800s, which multiplied, ate the corn, and ate. By the time the Spaniards came, the disease they put on the American land killed the forces that were going to fight. So in our force is the young Black and Latino man learning of the oppression that's leading to aggression and violence. So when we were waking up in the 70s, they said, what is the new chemical warfare we could throw? We already got the heroin in Vietnam. They're scared of heroin because their fathers and mothers were dope fiends, so they despise the dope fiend. But if the cocaine come in, that's the rich folk. That's the good drug. They needed a new vibe. They needed a new chemical like they got now. They got other ice and stuff, get it?
Yeah.
But for our era, the Reagan economic blast was the contra sale of give them cocaine.
Yeah.
We bring them back 10 years. Get it?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, that was a chemical warfare against the poor people in America. And I lived through that. So that's what I'm saying. I survived our country's, one of our country's biggest nuclear bombs they dropped on their own people called cocaine.
Cocaine, yeah.
Get it? So for us who lived it, we went from hating dope, and now when I'm a crack, right? Our kids said, that's the new Jack era. We ain't gonna be crackheads, we gonna be gangsters.
Yeah.
Because our fathers were gangsters, they were dope fiends to crackheads. So the new Jack era was we about the pain.
Yeah.
Get it? So our communities go through different chemical warfares, mental warfares.
Yeah.
And if the child isn't equipped with the values of home, the values of big brothers, the value of a strong community, what is a community's obligation to raise the future young men and women to carry on traditions and beliefs that were taught to the historical sacrifices of what we call our ancestors?
Yes.
And if you don't know that, you're fine with a BMX bike. I'm fine with the jewels, and I'm fine just calling my woman what I think they are, because nobody told me the historical value
of a woman,
of our queens back in Africa, our queens, and how they were treated and the respect. It's easier to degrade.
Yes. Who introduced you to the nation, better known as Latin Kings?
Well, what happened after the addiction of court cases, I ended up in Rikers Island, and I was problematic always. I was small. I wanted always to prove, and I was getting into beef. And I seen this one group. I seen a few groups, the Muslims. You seen the God bodies. You know, they had them in the island. But of course, I was Latin, and I seen Latins for the first time hold that pride. And it wasn't about pain. It was about unity and knowledge. So why I always say now, what they taught me was unity before justice. There could be no justice without the unity of the people.
Yeah.
And you want consequence without unity, which causes discord. Because you teach the people to think together, to judge together, then to see we are not picking, we are not doing cancellation, we are judging according to the behavior against your community.
Yeah.
Right? So in that's what I was formalizing and seeing in the island in these guys. And someone, a brother named Mafia Old School said, yo, you got all the traits, you got a heart and everything, but you're about the stupidest, dumbest Puerto Rican I see in the block. He told me. And I said, yo, don't be disrespecting me, yo. And he goes, I see you look at the table, I see you want family, right? And he said, you want direction. You don't know who Puerto Ricans are. He said, so I'm gonna give you some help. We're gonna teach you to read and write. Because you dumb. I seen you. You act like you dumb. And imagine that someone cared enough to watch me and learn the kid don't got no body. Yeah. He burned all his bridges. He's a crackhead, 90 pounds, and he's causing racial riots over here.
Yeah.
Let's fix him, right? And he cared, and he put the time. They locked me in a cell for 3 days with 2 teachers every day, and they made me memorize 3 pages or something. Then after memorize, read, then the Malcolm X book, then you get it?
Yeah.
And he made me a scholar. And before he made me make a decision if I wanted to be something that he was, he made me find out who I was.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah. So before you were an adult, you couldn't read or write, or?
I dropped out in 3rd grade.
3rd grade, wow.
And I just right now in my company, I pay people for the things my education level never reached.
Yeah.
And you say, rich people do it that way. But my point is, there's nothing they do that I don't pay them for because I did it fucking first.
Yeah.
You get it?
I got you.
So I'm not scared of their education.
Yeah.
I'm scared of their education perfecting my idea.
Yes.
And bringing it to full, right?
Yeah.
And in the street, if you do that with your child, you invest the time not only to scream at him and to tell him when he's wrong, endear and see the brightness of the hope in his eyes that you are the greatest hero, not Thor with the tights and the gay ass and all these people screaming at you. And I'm not saying that, but all these real messages that the kid is saying, Pop, you're my hero.
Yeah.
And if you're that chair's empty, who tells me what is a man in tights? What are the real heroes? Is this fantasy? Is this reality?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
And
And that's what the Kings did for me. They finally made me face reality.
Yeah.
That you are broke, you are fucked up, and you're uneducated.
Yeah.
And it's all right. Remember this, community. It's all right to hate where you taught. It's all right to hate the people who teach you lies. But it's never is a God-given sin to hate to learn. If you start hating learning and you walk around mad all day, you need help.
Yeah.
Because you must learn.
You must learn.
You must accept change. I came in, there was phones, there was a different gang, there was a different world. I accepted that change and I met the change. I brought myself out of going in at 98 and coming home in 2009 and saying I'm going to build $1 million company, not because I dreamed it when I walked out the fence, is I dreamed it when I was in 24-hour lockdown and they told me I wasn't going to come home and that I was going to stay there and I was going to die in that prison. I said, no, I'm not. I'm coming home, and I'm not only coming home, I'm going to come home better than I came in.
Yes, sir.
You get my point? And the Kings taught me that sacrifice and freedom is not overrated. And sacrifice is something you must do for your future and your children. So you can lay in jail if you make a mistake and feel sorry and become your mistake.
Yeah.
Or you could learn from it, avoid it again, and bring something better when you come home. A better product.
A better
right?
product, yeah.
A sharpened product like Malcolm did and most of our heroes did.
Yeah. What is church?
Church is a body of people that come together and give the freedom for themselves to practice the behavior of loving something bigger than their humanity. And in that humanity, they understand, regardless of the traditions and the behaviors taught to them by the land and the part of the continent they were raised in, that humanity, by the God-given greatest maker who made us, gives us is the right to breathe, the right to eat, and the right to praise.
Yeah.
Raise family, pursuit of happiness. And what I'm saying, that if your religion tells you I can't breathe as much air as yours, I don't want to learn it. If your God makes you kill me to believe in him, I don't want to follow him.
Yeah.
And if your gang needs fear to make me have to stay, then I don't want to bang with you.
Yeah. Do you ever feel that you gave away too much knowledge?
No. You can't give enough knowledge because you can never give the toilet enough shit.
Yeah.
And there's somebody shitting on our people every day. So as long as there's someone out there that's trying to demise and take our people to the back, the great America of the past days, we must understand if someone could shit on us every day, we must fight every day. We must get up a little better than yesterday, because we somehow, as the minority and the people who've come here and built this great country, have never been given the recognition and the power to have a voice to say this is ours too, right?
Yeah.
So that's some shit. So that's what I was told. If someone gets up every day to bust me and denounce me, I got to get up every day to uplift me and to shout it from the roof. I am not who you say I am.
Yeah. What comes to mind when I say Amor de Rey?
That's that motherfucking shit. That's that shit that saved me. I think about God. I think about movement. I think about power against police brutality. I think because that's everything I made the crown to me. Now, if you make your color, your rag, your block, your product, your push, your fear, that's what that shit is to you. But me and mine, we stand that our behavior changed. We grew up out of that, out of the nonsense that the negative of our community and those that are in that primitive stage, that somewhere I'm talking against them. No, I'm saying I was there.
Yeah.
I respect your primitive stage, but you must respect my evolve to be the one now that pulls you up, like there was one that they allow live so he could pull me up out of that primitive stage. So we got to stop hating our wisdom in our power groups, in our streets, and in our circle. Respect that wisdom again. And then the wisdom must understand the sin of today ain't the one you like they didn't like us when we had long hair. Now they don't like our pants to sag. Stop being assholes and following that shit. Don't worry about what they wear and how they look. Remember how we abandoned them after the Malcolm X and the Martin Luther Kings, and we didn't leave a roadmap for these guys. So rap took over and trap took over and crack took over because we abandoned our youth to the American dream, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I see it right there.
So I'm quoting you. The good guy hits back, and now he's a gangster.
So yeah. So what happens is, right? And we were always taught to believe that when the slave ships hit Africa and South America with the Spaniards, some way that all our communities laid down, put their feet up and their hands up, and they let themselves be shackled.
Yeah.
You don't read that when the ship Jesus hit the land, that the great warriors of Africa stood up in their women and they fought to the death before they were shackled. The good guy was hitting back because if he didn't, they were taking his freedom away, his homeland away. And that's what I mean. The good guy has to be the front line. What happens if you go to Texas and you walk up to a place and he carried a gun and you talk that New York gangster shit? He could stand his ground and shoot you.
Yeah.
You hear me, folks? That's the front line. That's the good guy hitting back legally. So we must raise our kids to know you don't got to pick up a gun in the middle of the street that ain't licensed, that we could take you to a Walmart to buy it. If you just make it to the age of 18 without catching a felony, we would all be armed, standing. Representation will stand. If we ain't paying the taxation without representation, gives us the right to bear arms and stand and not go attack the government and burn the house like they did. Yeah. And they never been slaves and they never been a product of oppression, but they burned it. Our people been over, 300 years of oppression in America? But I mean, did we ever dare burn the building?
No.
Did we ever storm it?
I mean, there were probably talks about it, but there was never any legitimate.
Because if the Black Panthers, imagine the Black Panthers, what they became just having rifles on the front of the house, right? That's the picture you think of.
Yeah.
Imagine if they pointed them at the judge and they was, you get my point?
Yeah.
What I'm saying, I always believed in my community, when the guy gets raised where he does not respect the wisdom, the elders, they are the good guys that teach him the justice without giving you 40 to life and keeping you in prison. We vanish you from the community. We send you with the credible messenger to see what's hunting like. What is the jungle without your community? And if you need to sometimes feel the warrior smack, hey, you see, this is why you're not with them. And we got to bring you back. And that's usually the change comes is when the good guy hits back.
Yeah.
When the good guy stands against evil and hits evil, who's the bully? Until you punch him in the mouth.
Yeah. I mean, you let people push you around, and then when you want to set that boundary and defend yourself, now you're wrong.
And let me just say, because we're very strong, no violence. When the kids in our high schools wore leather shirts and looked like the Fonz and Richie and Cunningham in the Happy Days, they used to stab each other and fight just like our brown and black kids. But at that time, that was called adolescence. They were letting a fool kid run up Fool's Hill, but the job of the community was to keep him from catching a felony. As soon as the school became black and brown, the counselor and that Fool's Hill became a jail's hill.
Mm-hmm.
It became where the counselor was replaced by the beat cop. So now when we fought with our leather shirt and we fought with respect, it was no longer a community problem. It was a justice problem. Stop being ignorant and blaming your kids for a system that always created, there was always stabbings in school, and they were a lot more active in the white communities than us. You should see the greasers fighting for their leather shirts. So what I'm saying, stop looking at our kids like we're the first to do this.
Yeah.
So you get what I'm trying to teach?
Yes.
That we came from villages that had circles and fires and doctors and wise men to a place that had capitalistic pain and power ruled.
Yeah.
And we're duplicating their behavior. You didn't come on that ship with that kind of behavior.
This is the behavior that we adapted to. There it is. So you said I started studying nonviolent people such as Gandhi and Martin Luther King. What did you learn from Gandhi?
That the good guy doesn't always have to hit back.
Yeah.
See, and Martin Luther King taught me you don't always have to hit back. But I want to show you the balance that's crazy.
Yeah.
You see Malcolm X, they made Malcolm X the picture of violence.
Yeah.
But yet in Malcolm X movement, there was never one killed. He never killed. His people used to show demonstration of power, but never really took it to the house.
Yeah.
Where Martin Luther King's movement was nonviolent. I seen people slapped, slaughtered, hanged, sprayed. You getting?
Yes.
So really in the mind, if you go, a violent movement was the non-violent movement because it drew violence from the other side.
Yeah.
But when the oppressor said, how about if the rabbit learns to have a gun?
Yeah.
And we stood proud, that was more, you get what I'm saying? They approached that with fear.
Yeah.
So they had to destroy it.
Yeah.
But with Martin Luther King, they thought we could beat it out of them.
Yeah.
With Malcolm, it was, oh, they ain't gonna let us beat us.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna, the Nation of Islam, they ain't gonna let us hang them.
Yeah.
They gonna fight back. So how do we beat them now? You don't get my point? Yeah. And that's how it seems. So a violent movement, non-violent, and the characters in Gandhi, that's what they taught me. Non-violent and violent in your movement is your action, but it's what, like we say about this Trump crazy dude, what does your preaching and your words and your standard do to your people, and what do they do to others?
Yes.
Get what I'm saying? So Malcolm, even though with the power strength, his people knew it was a disciplined display of organized power. If you came, we were going to stand our ground.
Yeah.
We were not abusive. We will not intrude. We will not seek.
Yeah.
Right? You get it?
Right.
Where Trump's was seek, destroy, pull out, make different. You see the difference of power struggle? And I think that's, we must, what I'm saying is, they taught me we must demonstrate all.
Yeah.
The power by look, by unity, by cadence, by right flank, by left flank, organized with legal guns, men that know their defense of what we're defending and why we defend our community, like they defend little towns in Texas. You get my point?
Yes.
That we reorganize and be the bankers of our community. Mm-hmm. Own old block. You got to own old block, buy the project, change it, and then you honor your man you lose. Because look, they just bought it. They're going to tear it down. They're going to take all our brothers out of old block project, make them go to other people project. Mm-hmm. They go to wars. But you get it? But if we invested all that trap music from when we would have bought it, we could have prevented all that misplacement of them people.
Yeah.
And I'm not attacking, but you see how I mean?
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah.
We lost old block.
We lost old block. At some point in your life, did you consider yourself a violent person?
Well, every human being is a violent character.
Yeah.
He chose violently. He was born to be violent, to exist in this world. There's no passive creature that lives in this world and continues to exist at the manner we have and we evolved.
Yes.
We're savages, man.
Yeah.
The human race is a savage. Is a machine that consumes even when it's consuming itself.
Yeah.
It'll eat itself.
Yeah.
To make something out of nothing.
Nothing.
So you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. If you're in that rat race, all I could tell you is you're going to meet your goals. You're not going to care if you're a violent person, if you're a smart person, you're a bad person. All you are is a selfish person by any means necessary, right? Yeah. Without looking at the consequences of your wants. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying, I think that's violent. What I'm saying, we're all violent in our own way. When we want to raise, who we talk about, who we bring down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying, violence don't only come with a punch and a gun.
Yeah.
It comes with words.
Mm-hmm.
It comes with displacement. It comes with the hate, blocking a dude, a young rapper that you know is the beast. You get it? That's violent shit.
Yeah, that is violent. Yeah.
You hung his family. They can't eat.
Yeah.
You hanging them.
Yeah.
So my point is, we're violent now. I've considered myself a violent, miseducated violent person, where I thought violence was only with the fist, like the Wild Wild West, and we were taught. You know, a lot of, and I'm gonna go here with violence real quick. When I seen Hamlet, that play, right? It was great. Everybody, Disney is showing it, and everybody loved it, and they loved the rap. And when in the end, I said, "Don't y'all
Hamilton?
Hamilton,
Okay.
right? It was great.
Yes.
What did you get out of that? I'm just saying, at the end, when I seen it, I said, I watched this whole shit and look at what I just learned. And it was food because I knew, but I couldn't get it, right? Want to see what I got?
Go ahead.
I couldn't believe that these educated men that created our country, that this country had a law. And we always talk in our hood, man, these niggas silly, man. They killing each other for respect and shit, not even money. But here was two dudes that raised the country, raised the revolution. And if you disrespected each other, an educated doctor would put his oath as a life savior away. They would set a date where they would meet. Don't you remember the play? And two educated men would take 10 paces in the line of respect. And they would shoot at each other one bullet. And the doctor would lie, wouldn't tell the truth of it, and it was like it never happened. Now you know where our guys got the line of respect from, you dumb motherfuckers. They taught it to us from the rip. This country had a rule that if you disrespected another man, you could kill him. My black and brown kids do it every day now, and they don't even know where the fuck they got that language of wisdom. And we showed it to them in a rapping, historical, and they didn't pick up the shit. That's where your kids got the line of respect from. Their forefathers, the thieves and the crooks that they were willing to kill each other for their ideas.
Straight like that. In one of your interviews, you said the FBI will only go in the doors that you open for them.
Yeah, so I had to make the mistake. If I'm running something and you're out there in that field, the criminal field, the trap music field, and the field you choose, always know in your field, they hire somebody to catch you in that field 24 hours a day. So that means if I could play a ticket of Lotto 24 hours a day and put $1 or $2 24 hours a day into Lotto and tickets and have that millionaire, probably I'll be winning a lot more little prizes that'll guide me up and win because I could do it that way. You get it? So my point is, whatever profession you choose, somebody's out there in the Justice Department to catch you. You slip once, they're there. They only need you to slip once.
Yeah.
So my point is, you got to be the change you preach. So if I'm a credible messenger and I'm doing it and I'm bringing that message I was doing like in the 90s that I destroyed the movement, it was that I was capable to preach change. I was capable, but I wasn't able to finance it.
Yeah.
I couldn't replace the gun with a job. I couldn't replace it with unionizing. Get it? So I turned back to what I knew to bring the power, what I learned in the 3rd grade, hustle. So if you're remember we talk two-faced motherfucker, or you live in the both sides, the truth will come out at the end and the feds will come in because all they need is one mistake.
Yeah.
And they could wait one mistake 5 years to see if you make another.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, like that, the feds could only attack those who open the door. It's kind of like they say, the devil comes into a house that has no spirit.
Yeah.
That isn't spiritually protected, get it? That you don't guard against. Yeah. So it's the same with the feds. If your values and your traits ain't the same and you know the hustle game is a short-term fix, but you think it's a long-term hustle, guarantee me the feds are coming.
Yeah.
And your OGs that been there 50 years and they still never came, it isn't that they ain't coming. They already eating dinner with them.
Yeah.
You're just the product he's giving to them every 3 months or 4 months so he can remain the OG on the block. I'm not saying everybody, but do your history and you'll find that this is not a long-term economy. You get what I'm saying? So know they coming, right? We always say they coming.
Yeah.
If this your lifestyle. Death is coming, jail is coming, or change is coming. Which one you're choosing?
Yeah. The unknown is the scariest thing for our youth. And does that come with, as far as not knowing your identity and not knowing the unknown of like, am I gonna make it out of jail or am I gonna survive this sentence?
Being a teenager is the unknown of understanding why your brain is creating and absorbing so much things at such a fast rate at this age where you don't understand your growth.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding growth at this is what teenager is in God's timetable, is where your mind challenges an adult because the speed of your knowledge, you start thinking you know what they know because you know how to copy what they do.
Yeah.
Or you've seen them pay a bill, but you don't know how it is to work to pay the bill. You get it?
Yes.
So a youth's mind is a tool that while it grows, it confuses, it changes. And that's what we call mental health.
Yeah.
When your brain is moving too fast, but you can't really understand change. You can't understand that feeling. You can't that's where they need us the most.
Yeah.
Not to judge them and say, hey, you're not gay because we're not, that shit is crazy. That's not what they need to, you're growing in a place where you're going to have a million questions and you're going to have a million feelings. It's a timetable. Give it time.
Yeah.
You might feel like that today, but give you time. If you that, you'll be that 5 years later.
5 years from now, yes.
But breathe. And I'm not saying don't do that, but your body's going to scream on you feeling tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's see what that one is.
Yeah.
Get it?
Get it.
And we go through those ups and downs of a teenager's bodies changing in their face and we wanting only sex, money, power from that little girl and little boy. And they saying, do I grow up to dance like her or do I grow up to think like them?
Yeah.
The brain.
The brain.
You getting? So adolescence is already hard enough with grown-ups being judgmental and not having guidance and wisdom to help them make choices, fail and be happy they fail because we say, now you're glad it didn't happen when you were older, right? And then there's the ones who go, please don't get pregnant at 16. It ain't that we don't think you could be a good mother. You're just not ready, right? Those conversations and the little girls, you don't know I love them.
Yeah.
My point is, do you throw her out?
Yeah.
Or do you bring her in? Get it?
I get it.
And that's where I'm going. Adolescence is our greatest tragedy to the community because we got to go to work and do things the only way we know how to handle our children's gripes and that puberty stage. Lock them up. Give them a pill. Or here's the key and stay home. I'll be back at 9.
Yeah.
You get it? So all those things are traumatizing our youth. We're almost at 9. We got to start.
Yeah. We're going to get there. I see how poverty is a crime. There was a war on drugs, war on gangs, but never a war on poverty. I quoted that from you.
Yeah, I call America cowards, right? They love to declare war. Like right now, they're supporting a full-fledged war.
Mm-hmm.
They've sunk billions of dollars to blow up shit in a country that's going to lose that war.
Yeah.
Our children could win this war of miseducation and poverty.
Yeah.
If you put that much money into all the schools in the ghetto and finance our teachers, I'm just saying, not in a thing that's going to drop and blow up, but in something that's going to grow and think.
Grow up and grow out.
You changed every fucking ghetto in America. You wouldn't pass the bill that would have erased our debt or gave our children all the computers to do their homework from home. All that could have been done with the money you're giving freely to a country that isn't yours, that you didn't enslave, that you didn't give an equal opportunity. You fighting for them to have it. And I'm not against helping them. That's why we got the United Nations. But could you please keep my black and brown taxpayer dollars in the schools you have abandoned, that you left full of asbestos, that are all full of old books that doesn't teach us the way we want to learn and the true history that we endured in your country? When you do that, then we'll start believing in you.
Yeah.
But you rather drop a bomb than drop an economy to help us gain knowledge in 10 years from now. That ain't even for us. That's for our children 10 years to compete with chores.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. You get it?
Yes.
And that's how it stays until we could change that aspect where they invest in our children like they invest in wars. America is the biggest coward in the world.
That's facts. Usually the ones that are in courts telling on you ain't the ones we were shooting at.
Yeah, because the ones that tell on you is the ones that eat with you, and the one that eat with you is the one you show who you really are when no one's looking. because you trust him to not be God. You think he's not going to tell, he's down with you to the end, but then you find out that your greatest sin, if it isn't private, it will probably be told by the one you love, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. And I want the kids to know that in the street. The dudes we shot at couldn't tell on us. They didn't know we were the ones shooting. The one who told him he got shot was the one who went with us.
Yeah.
So when you think at 19 that you're going on with 3 dudes to do something horrible, think about it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Because at the end of the day, history shows that there's remorse, there's regret.
Yeah.
And that's normal. I'm not saying but in the game of justice, after you've done that big mistake, is who feels it first so they could give the other 2 up. You get it? It isn't, if you're remorseful and you're getting this really happened, talk to the other team, let's get something really good. Yeah. You're gonna have to pay, but we could really come as a team and help. You get it? And that's what I mean by it.
Yeah.
It all comes in that manner that the people who love you could love you to death. Mm-hmm. The people who protect you could be the ones who keep you hostage. Yeah. So you got to have a balance in everything. You get it?
Yes.
And understand, don't make other people, or don't think, this is how I stood home this long. Now I don't worry about who's seeing me. Even when I'm alone, I act as God is a human being and he's seeing me. Not a spirit. I make him physical and he goes, someone is seeing you do this right now. Someone's seeing you put that hot pepper in your pocket. Get it?
Yeah.
And what does that mean to the credible messenger? What that means to this. You get it?
Yes.
So it gives me a conscience to weigh it out and then change my behaviors. Yeah. So you see what I'm saying? So that's how I go about it now.
Yeah. A really quick current event. So T.I., I don't know if you know what he recently did, but he recently admitted that he snitched. He told on his cousin, but his cousin is dead. Like, I feel like the way I feel about that, if me and my sister went out, right, and we were supposed to be home at the same time, and we got home, and I told on her, right, that she broke curfew. Now, say she didn't get in trouble. I still snitched. I still told.
Well, what they didn't tell T.I., that after he said that, the feds wrote up an indictment and they went to your cousin's grave and they dug him out and they put bars in his coffin. That makes you feel better? It isn't the lively of him paying, it's the historical value of the people who loved him and he went all right, and you changed the view of them, of a dead man that died with his sin. But because you wanted to disclose and make yourself better, you say he don't feel the pain I caused him, but his family does.
Facts.
His daughter did. Someone in there said, what? Why you flipped our guy? He was resting in peace. So I don't know T.I. and I don't care, but I'm saying that Jesus sent down angels. They picked up your uncle. They said, sorry, you snuck in. T.I. told us you don't belong in heaven. So they just shipped him down with ladders and the rest of us, the kings and the rest of us. And now he's in hell, T.I. Tell it to him when he wants a glass of water and you're in heaven celebrating because you thought it didn't affect him. What do you know what it's going to do to him when he's dead?
Yeah.
When half of this world believes they're going to live again after they're dead.
Yeah, the afterlife.
So you just took that from him?
Yeah.
You get my point?
Mm-hmm.
There's a consequence when you open your fucking mouth and say something. And when you tell something, that's why you telling it has an effect on someone.
Yep.
Period. They don't ask you to tell if it doesn't affect someone.
Yep.
So that's yours. I hear your raps. You say some words that I can't rap. I followed you. I loved your shit. And I still love your music. But I didn't know that. And I'll tell you what I tell everyone. You make the choice. Eat it and just teach the kids the right way. I made a bad choice and I told. Yeah. And I thought when I told, I was going to feel better. Yeah. And I thought the people who used me to tell were going to use it for justice. But what they really used it for was for their personal gain, to get a case and settle things. And I did the personal gain because I wanted a reality show and I wanted my career to continue. And it didn't matter to him because he was already broken dead.
Yeah.
So what I'm telling you is that I learned, if you go in a graveyard, and you want to learn the historical value of gangsters and the crimes and these guys' history, it's all right to learn it. but you don't disturb the bones. You don't learn something to talk about it and to spill it. You learn it for self-knowledge and historical value to know this is what really happened to my man, and I know what to do and not to do, but you rest in peace, man, even if he's my enemy.
Yeah.
You get it?
I get it.
So that's what he's got to live with now,
You
T.I.
got to live with that. Yep. His choice. So Grow Up, Grow Out is an organization dedicated to ensuring that young people gain the skills and support they need to become participating, productive community members. Grow Up, Grow Out works with individuals and groups of young people that are at risk or have been through the criminal justice system. Our motto, which I've never seen this before, and I fell in love with it once you sent it to me: oppression leads to aggression, which leads to violence.
And if you don't teach to the oppression and relieve it, the aggression never leaves. And an aggressive kid is a dangerous kid.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't teach aggression. So if you relieve oppression, the government knows this, the aggression goes down. When you house them, you feed them, you give them the school, you give them warmth, and you give them hope and love, then one day he's going to sit down and goes, I've rested, tone, I'm full. He goes, they usually go, what that you said a month ago about school, you see?
Yeah.
And you thought he forgot.
They got room to ingest.
Now they ate, they go, my brain is ready to think. And you said about school, if I'm going to be full like this and I'm going to keep warm and I'm going to be looking like you, turn a few. Yeah, man. He goes, shit, let's try that school shit. Because the aggression is down, you relieve the oppression. He's got people guiding him. Now when it's down, you avoided the fucking crime, the bullet,
the violence,
the pimple bossing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So now what I'm teaching is, that's the trick programs. Remember, the system is giving you money to teach to violence. Be sorry. Tell the mother sorry after you kill her. Not prevention and not relief of oppression.
Yeah.
And that's what fucking Grow Up, Grow Out does, because we've been oppressed. And we know how I got aggressive. The reason I cut a CO or I cussed a fool is because I was scared, I was oppressed, and I thought I wasn't going to make it. So my aggression made me violent. But once Mafia taught me how to read, write, and do my hustle through pictures, through selling cooch and all the other shit, guess what happened? I wasn't cutting people no more.
Yeah. We combat this by first listening to the oppression, which relieves the aggression. And I know most people who walk around feel like they're not heard. You know, even people who haven't been down that route, everyone wants to feel heard. So we combat that by listening.
Who you mad at? I always say that in a serious tone, me or yourself. If you mad at me, don't shoot me. Call me, talk to me. Find out. Maybe we could relieve that misconception or that matters. We could find what's the base. But you mad at me. But now if you walking around mad all day and you mad at yourself, get help. That is not normal. Getting up in the morning, coming out the project, and you know you mad. You know why you mad. But you take it out at a man that's coming out the project in the elevator with you.
Facts.
That's what's that.
We both share the common pain, the same pain.
You're mad at yourself. You're not really mad at him.
Yeah. Meek Mill said, self-hate made them send me upstate.
Self-hate made them. That's
self-hate made me send.
And that's all I'm saying. If you relieve once you know who you are and the oppression, and you know why you are where you are, and you're starting behind the game, then if you got a teacher, you could tell them, we'll put you even to that kid.
Yeah.
And once we make you even,
yeah,
it's been known that we go far.
Yes.
You get what I'm just saying?
Absolutely. Once the aggression decreases, there's an opportunity to teach. And that's what goes back to what you said, where he's like, yo, a month ago you told me about school. What's up? Where do I sign up? How can I get involved?
Your shit, when you gave them pizza.
Like,
and if they ate a pizza with the kid they fought later, they said, pass the garlic.
Yeah.
You self-engaged them. They were down for like kids. They said, you say, where we going next? Right? Now they were enthusiastic and say, he fed us. They never feed us first.
Yeah. Right.
Dad gets fed first. He gets fed first. He fed us first.
Yeah.
You see my point?
Yes,
so
sir.
right there, you relieved an oppression that the aggression go down. Now you said it just blew up because you loved them.
Yeah.
You fed them. The greatest sign of a person to be a credible messenger, servitude. So if I work in a restaurant, and what's a credible messenger? A judge that tells other judge they're being unlawful. What is a credible messenger? A black cop that tells a white cop your knee is on his neck.
Yeah.
What is a good, you get it? What is a good brother that tells his little brother, yo, dude, I'm in a gang, but this shit ain't for you. You are not getting in my gang.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah.
You're a credible messenger.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm going when you say, who's a credible? You're credible. You're right. Now there's a way to perfect that profession. But if you got the heart and you stand up when others are sitting down, you are a credible messenger.
Yeah. Through the 5 steps of decision making, we teach how to resolve a situation through positive interactions.
So like I said, in my youth facility, if you fight, there's no shoe. You don't get sentenced. You stay in the same unit with the dude you fought. You do 1 hour in the cell in 1 hour, and you talk through the door and you scream. By the 3rd hour, they screamed enough, they cursed enough, then they start making plans how they're going to fool me so they can see football together.
Yeah.
But if I pull them and put them in the shoe, the thing that's making me in the knife, I don't see my enemy, so I assume
he's plotting on you.
He's plotting. But if I leave the 2 enemies for the time their anger is thinking and not their common sense, and they curse at each other through the door, but they can't hit each other.
Yeah.
And you see by the 2nd hour, they find out at 9 o'clock, Washington, they're playing.
Yeah.
And they both want to see the game. They go, yo, let's call Tone. This shit is over. We're going to go to school. And you see them politicking.
Yeah.
And then they call us because the fear was not enhanced by displacement. We say we're going to let you see your enemy. You're going to see what he's thinking. You're going to see how he's acting.
Yeah.
And we're going to let him out an hour so you can see how it acts when he comes out. And when y'all ready to dance together, we'll let you out. Until then, dance like that.
Yeah.
But you see my point?
Yes.
You don't enhance a tragedy with fear.
Yeah.
You resolve.
You resolve it. Yeah. Absolutely. This creates freedom, leading to empowerment, which leads to public safety.
So 2 sides. They were saying, we want public safety. We want us to be safe. Even good citizen, black and brown, want safety. So what I say, imagine if you're hiring X people that went in from these gangs and these streets and this addiction and did 30 years, what better man equipped with all these, like we prepare them to go to your kid and say, I'm your hero. And it ain't worth it.
Facts.
And if today, before the 30 years come, this is your first one, I'm going to show you what I learned in those 30 years. I'm going to teach you today.
Yeah.
And by 9 months, you have done the 30 years and you have saved you and your mother those griefs.
Facts.
If you give us a chance. Some of them fall, but they fall less. They don't go from after us from our advice to armed robbery or murder. Yeah. They'll go from leaving the home to go home. Because now they're missing home. Now they're learning to want to be there. So you get my point? And that's what we do. We progress. We don't punish. So I tell the judge, she goes, why he ran away? He's supposed to change. I said, well, if they put me in the home, where will you want to run to?
Yeah.
And the judge said, home.
Yeah.
He's doing what any kid would do.
Yes.
I want to go home to Ma because Ma was supposed to love me. And I don't want to be in this home. So we get him. He's understanding there's just a few left. And the judge gives them to me.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I'm showing he's being as human as anybody, even as a kid with blue eye and blonde hair.
Yes.
Every kid want to go home.
Every kid want to go home.
So you get my, we replace their behavior with minors where the judge goes, wow, there is change.
Yes.
He's making better decisions. He didn't run to the block to get the gun to get his ox.
Yeah.
He ran to his mother to get a hug and get a kiss. Ma, how many more long I got to stay away from you? It feels good to change.
Yes.
So that's the fruit of change.
Yeah. This is the last thing I'll ask. So this is the part without your program where they left no room for repentance. They left no room for them to grow. They left no room for growth.
So what I would say, Luis Felipe was sentenced to 185 years with no human contact, no phone ball, no lawyer, no nothing. He's buried alive. He's worse than the Unabomber or anybody that committed treason and went and fought with Al-Qaeda. Luis Felipe from the Latin Kings, a Pistol Pete from Sex Money Murder, and all those gangsters got treated and are in prison worse than people that betrayed the United States of America in a war.
Yeah.
Let me just make that clear.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, they were fighting in the lifestyle that was on. So my point is, they were telling us, you could betray our country and everything, but you gangsters, we know you're the real power. And we're going to show what happens when you think you can live like this and scare us this way.
Yeah.
So they're sentencing now gangs as terrorists.
Yeah.
And if we don't wake up our youth, they don't know they're the next terrorist bill.
Yeah.
Domestic terrorism.
Yes.
It isn't for the militia groups with the blonde hair, blue eyes, and the gangs. They've been out since that. Those are gangs, illegal gangs. But the ones in the inner cities are going to be the ones they round up.
Yeah.
So you get my point? So we got to learn to really digest this information we're getting and understand that they're going to target us and they're going to be sending us to draconian laws from the 1800s as power groups, as gangs, if we don't wake up, reorganize, teach the youth, us OGs, what's the truth of the prize of fighting the war we did the way we did, and how to avoid that and get back the respect that the Black Panthers, that the Nation of Islam, that the FALN, and all these people they call terrorists, what they really were freedom fighters.
Yes.
And I'd rather go to jail for being a freedom fighter than being a crack dealer, for being a gangbanger, for killing a 6-year-old while I was doing the drive-by for my man.
Yeah.
So we got to pick what we're going to stand for.
Yes.
And I'll leave it at that. That's what I'm telling you, kids. Credible messengers are men that lived a life experience of oppression that led to aggression, and we ended up being violent men. Mm-hmm. And we didn't tell to come home. We did the bid, and we reinvested in our trauma and our hurt. And we invested in the love and the people we hurt, and we had empathy for our sin against humanity. And we came home with the objective of bringing back those we misled. So in the hope that we don't get paid and I don't got all these Jews, that maybe whatever that afterlife is, if I could kiss my father's feet and my mother's feet and see Diane and Alex and the people I love in the world they call, then that's worth the prize. But if I didn't, I gave it a hell of a fight.
Facts.
I didn't end the way I started. And that's life.
And that's life. All from King Tone.
Just my little point of view.
Little point of view. So where could we find you, man?
So you can find me, right? I'm at growupgrowout.com, and you can find my little website. It's there. You get information. But really, if you want to reach out, I got a Serious Tone on YouTube. It's a little show I do from my basement, not fly like this studio here. Yeah, but now I know how to get help. You know what I mean? I love the look. I do a Serious Tone where I go on rants and I just burn the village. You know what I mean? With everybody in it. And I get out all this aggression against my OGs and my power groups that are sleeping. Yeah. So I think there's a place for that platform. Preachers preach in church, I preach in the street. You know what I mean? So I do that. And you could also get me at Fernandez at growupgrowout.org if you're interested in change and finding out where's the credible messenger near you. Where are we doing hiring? Send me an email. Keep it respective. If you want to know what Hancho did to Pancho and what King did with his queen, wrong email. If you want to learn about change and how to grow up and grow out of and get yourself in a place of power, use that email.
Thanks. Well, thank you for your time, OG.
Thank you for having me,
I
man.
appreciate you, man.
You already know.
Absolutely. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment.
Salute.
Follow the great movement. Salute.
My man doing what he do.
And, we appreciate you.